New to Medical Device Sales Meetup in Tampa, Florida, September 7th. Come join us where you're going to be networking with other individuals looking to break into medical device sales, with reps that are already in medical device sales that have had success in medical device sales. And it's just a time for community. We have our current and past people from New to Medical Device Sales. They get to meet each other in person. We go over different things we're seeing in the industry, and it's a time for you all to network and meet other like-minded individuals. And this is our time where we make it family-like, like you're gonna see from past events that we've done. So come, mark your calendars, come learn more about medical device sales, how to stand out, how to break into an amazing industry, and how to be a top performer in medical device sales. If you have any questions, click the link below to find out more information. And I can't wait to see you in Tampa, Florida on September 7th. Welcome back to First Year in Medical Device Sales. I am your host, Jacob McLaughlin, and we are coming here today to help you guys raise your standards in medical device sales. I wanted to make this episode today because, I saw a blog article on LinkedIn and they were just talking about the way of the world today. Like you'll see a lot of the robotic companies and where they're heading and, like all the things that Intuitive's done and where that industry is going. And it's like, hey, can any of these other robotic companies really come in and even take market share, because they've done such a great job at Intuitive of being able to set the standard of robotics surgery, right? And that's the biggest thing that it comes down to is who do they have? Where does it go? And so I was thinking about that today. I was thinking about standards, and we don't only talk about that conversation when it comes into medical device sales, but it comes into your reps, your lifestyle, like who you are. And, I was just having a conversation with our team, and it goes back into having a certain standard. And, one thing I've been told by multiple people, and I really always loved it, was the standard for us is excellence. It's not perfection, but it is excellence, right? And so what I mean by that is if you chase perfection, you're going to be stressed, you're going to have anxiety, it's going to be challenging. If you're trying to be the best rep ever and you are never going to mess up, like you can try as best as you can, but most likely you're a human being and there's going to be that time you do mess up. And it's like a lot of times people, especially high achievers, will take more time beating themselves up and spending multiple days and letting it ruminate in their head to where instead of just letting it go, they could go get other deals done. So the reason I'm saying that is instead of trying to chase perfection, how about you chase excellence? And excellence means we're going to hold the highest standard that we can. And if we do have mess ups, if things do fall down, we're going to make those corrections. We're going to change. We're not going to have it happen twice. And, I was having that talk with our team today. I was having that talk with multiple people in med device sales. Really winning in medical device sales isn't that hard. It's not as challenging as everyone thinks. It goes back to what I always tell people is like most reps don't follow up. Most reps don't ask hard questions. Most reps don't say what they're going to do. They don't do what they say they're going to do. Most reps struggle just to do the daily activities that are needed to run a successful territory. And it's not rocket science. It's making sure that you show up, making sure you have good interactions, making sure that you can provide value, making sure to show that you're a resource, making sure you can show that you're making someone else's life easier. Then it's also by making sure you can do your job. Can you follow up? Can you bring things that people asked for? Or even bigger, can you be proactive and say, hey, I went and checked your stock. Your stock was really low. I have some with me. Would you like me to restock it? And they're like, oh my gosh, that would be amazing. And guess what? You just made sales, right? Like that was always something for me when I was growing our territory from the lowest performing to top 10. I didn't do anything crazy. I just went into accounts and was like, hey, I'm just going to be resourceful. I didn't have any surgeries there. I didn't have anything going on there. But instead of going home and just hanging out or clocking in after 1 o'clock or clocking out after 2 o'clock and just calling it good, I would be like, okay, it's 2 o'clock. I probably could go for another 2 or 3 hours and just stop places. And so that's what I did. And so the reason I'm telling you guys this is just raising your standard. One reason I brought up the Intuitive is because if you guys don't know about Intuitive, Intuitive has an extremely high standard. Right now they have you have to pass, I think at 95% to stay hired with them. Once you first get hired, you get hired and then you go into their crazy training, which is absolutely amazing. It's why they've been able to take over so much market share in their history is because they get the best people. They create a standard that has to happen. If it doesn't happen, they will be let go. And then they just continue to go focus on their mission, on their goal, and they deliver on it every day. And that's really hard for a lot of people to understand because I was just having a talk with, again, some of the people I'm close with. When I felt the most frustrated, when I felt the most having the most trouble is we're bending our knees to people that just don't meet the standard. And the reality of it is just hold yourself to a higher standard. You're going to meet this on med device sales. On teams, there was teams that I had been on in my life that's
these people didn't have the same standard as me. And it's like, again, just going back to it, it's like the reason I was the top performer, the reason I was the top 10 performers at these companies. It's like, I just held myself to a higher standard. I didn't compare myself to teammates. I didn't compare myself to other people. I just focused on me. And I said, as Jacob, this is the standard I hold always. I don't care what the organization has as a standard. I don't care what the other people have. And again, that's why I love where I was at, especially like Innovis. Why I loved it, they were such an extremely high standard. And that's what, hey, we expect this, right? And so I think that's something for you guys as reps, as people getting into this industry. Hold yourself to an extremely high standard, because it goes back to a video I shared with our team, I share with our reps, I share with people going through our program. It's by Nick Saban. And they had an interview with him, and he got a question asked to him by the interviewer, and it was like, why are you so tough on people? And his response was, I don't believe it's fair to say I'm tough on people. I believe we have a standard and we keep a standard, because for an organization to go towards a mission, you have to be on the same standard, or you have to be on the same mission to get there, and you have to go at the same pace. And if anyone's not on that, it separates you going and achieving that mission, right? And then he goes on to say, mediocre people don't like high achievers, and high achievers don't like mediocre people. And so that's the thing I would just sit here and tell you is you need to set a standard for yourself, because I had to have this conversation with our team. Is like, the reason we've been able to get here is because my standard, everything I've ever done, is always up here. And it doesn't matter who's watching. It doesn't matter who has to say anything. This has always been my standard. And it's why I've had more success than most people I meet. It's why I've been able to achieve more in a little small time. It's because the standard's always been here, and we're not asking for permission. We're not asking if this is good. This is just the standard we always move towards. And the reason I'm telling you guys that's the same thing you need to have for yourself. Whatever you do in life, but also especially in med device sales and your career, make the standard. The standard is you always follow up with somebody. The standard is that you're always going to be proactive. The standard is you're going to show up 15 minutes early. The standard is that you're going to have stuff in your car that you're not saying, oh, sorry, I didn't bring it. The standard is if you say you're going to get back to someone, you're back with someone with 24 hours with a response. Like, it's just a certain standard that's really not that hard to keep, but it's what most people struggle with. Doing the little things. And they let one thing slip, and the next thing slip, and another thing slip. And then they're sitting here telling you, well, I don't understand why I'm rep number 18. I should be number 12. And I'll be like, nice. I bet if you did A, B, C, and D, you probably would be in the top 10. And it's like, well, and then whatever. Right? The reason I'm just sitting here telling you guys, this is why I say this for you, whether it's med device sales or it's just your life, you have to have a high standard to be successful. And so when you guys are going to an organization, that's something that you really need to look at. What is the standard? What is the quality of rep that's here? What is the quality of this place that I'm about to go to? Because if you're at a place where the standard's super low and you're like, oh, that means I can do really well, I don't think you're a high achiever. Because a lot of the high achievers I know, they try to go to the hardest place and be a high achiever at that place because they want to always continue to grow and be the top. And so that's what I wanted you guys to hear today is, again, Intuitive has done such a great job. They talked about the market, how they've done their business plan. Now they can like switch out robots. And it's like, can any other robotic company even try to catch them? And it's going to be challenging. And I thought it was a great post by Joe Mullins. And you guys should go check him out. Like the Mullins group, they do a great job. But it was a great post that he posted on LinkedIn, and I absolutely loved it. And it just goes into asking some great questions. And the reason I'm just saying that, what I took away from that though, was the standard of Intuitive. And why Intuitive's continued to dominate the robotic space is because the standard's always been so high for them. And so what I would sit here and tell you guys is you have to really look at yourself and be like, are you the rep? And do you hold yourself to a standard of rep to be able to be at these top places? And if not, that's okay. But that's what the best part of this is you get to look yourself in the mirror and be like, maybe I need to step it up. The easiest thing to say is if you're not where you want to be, if you're not having the success that you want, it is your fault. You can be like, well, Jacob, my territory. Well, Jacob, my manager. Well, Jacob, whatever. Just so you guys know, it will never work, going through a place where I didn't meet my manager for the first year I was here. I got ghosted with sales training. I got hired during COVID. It's like, there's all the excuses, but what's the standard you hold for yourself? Because if you're struggling, go find help. If you're struggling, reach out to other people. If you're struggling, go find someone who's the best rep on your team and see if you can pay them or you can learn from them or whatever it is. But just understand that it actually continues to make you work. It continues to make you have to get better. And that's where most people like being mediocre. Most people want to do just enough to not get fired. They want to do just enough to make as much as they can without doing as much work. But if you just finally flip that switch, I'm telling somebody right now, if you just finally flip the switch of I'm just going to do the work, and it will be hard. Yep. If you can just finally get there, you will change your entire life. What I just had the talk with our team last week and actually yesterday at office hours in our new to medical device sales program that we help people break in. Literally just had a guy in our program in 3 weeks break in 145K. The conversation I had with those people yesterday, stop trying to take the shortcuts. You can find places that get you there quicker, but that doesn't mean you're going to work less. Because what I talk to so many people about is I see so many people trying to take the easy route, the short route. Oh, I don't have to do all this because if I do this, it could turn into this. And the easy answer is you have to do the work. You just got to do the work if you want to be successful. No matter if it's in med device sales, anything in your life, you have to do the work. There's not one person you know who's created wealth and success by skipping a bunch of steps. So what I would sit here and tell you guys, instead of trying to be like, oh, I'm just going to barely do enough and do all this stuff. If that's what you want to do, just go be average and you don't even have to change anything. You're just already average. But if you want to be a top 10 performer, you want to be the top in medical device sales, you want to have the commission checks for $30, $50, $80 plus $1,000, you have to have a standard that's higher than everybody else. And nobody else is going to watch you and hold you to that standard most of the time, right? That's why I like organizations like Intuitive. They do. If you don't, you're out. And some people are like, that's mean. Well, you just didn't meet their standard. Because they're trying to grow and they're trying to deliver on a mission. You got to meet that. And so what I would just sit here and tell you is the standard you set for yourself means the most. Because I talked to our course yesterday and I was like, I remember literally 6 years ago calculating peanut butter, the price of peanut butter, adding tax to it and being like, and the groceries I got. And I remember I couldn't afford it and putting it back. And I think about all the moments of the past 6 years when I didn't have to hold myself to a certain standard. Nobody would have ever known. Nobody would have ever said anything. Nobody would have ever cared. They don't need to. But it was the question I asked myself is, what is the standard I'm always going to hold myself to? And because I decided I wanted to live a certain life, I wanted to achieve certain things, I wanted to do and live a life that most people will never get to. Well, that meant I had to have a standard that most people never will have. And because of that, and for the last 6 years, focusing on that, holding myself to that, even on things that hurt, or sometimes it was scary to jump on, all these things. But as long as I always kept that standard, it always got me to where I needed to be. So I just wanted to make this podcast to hopefully encourage you guys that if you're not where you want to be, if you're not happy with where you're at, the easiest answer is probably to just start raising your standards. It'll start changing your life. We've all heard the saying, you are who the 5 people you hang out with. If you're not liking where you're at in life, you're not liking where they're at, maybe you need to start raising your standards and getting around other people. You have the opportunity to change your life. You have the opportunity to crush it in med device sales. You have the opportunity to be a high performer. But it all is going to start with you and your standards. So my encouragement is for you, raise your standards, go get around organizations that have high standards that will continue to grow you and just never stop. I hope you guys found this really encouraging. If you guys are really interested in breaking into medical device sales, you guys can click the link below. Or if you guys are in med device sales, we have been able to help people that are associates or territory managers at smaller companies be able to break in at the 140, the 160, the 180, the 200s. And so if you guys are interested in learning more how we do that, you can click the link below. But also if you guys are brand new and trying to break into med device sales and learn more about med device sales, you guys can click below and learn more as well. Also, you guys can reach out to me at Jacob McLaughlin or New to Medical Device Sales on LinkedIn. I love connecting with all of you, but I just want you guys to know is like why I put all the free stuff out here is I don't need $1 and I don't want $1 from you. I just want you all to have success. I just want you all to be able to live the life that you guys want. And that just requires you to raise your standard and hold a standard of living for yourself. If you found this helpful or you think this could be helpful for someone else, if you can press that like and subscribe button, it really does help us grow this channel. And if you can share this with somebody, it would mean the absolute world to me. But until next time, I hope you guys keep going after your dreams, go after your goals. And I hope you absolutely crush quota. See you on the next one. Peace.